Okay.
Hey, I'm Lady Charmaine, and my guest today is known for being quiet but yet outspoken on the reality TV show Basketball Wives LA. She is a former singer with the New York girl group, and she's a mother of three, and she says she is on her way to rediscovering what makes her happy. And I want you to help me welcome Basketball Wives LA star Imani Showhalter to the show. How you doing, Imani?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today. It's so funny. You and I, we met, it seems like almost one of the most unlikely places. And the reason why I say that is you and I both are from California. I'm in Northern, you're in Southern California. And we met at church in Nashville, Tennessee during the Stellar Awards. I said, okay, of all places that we meet. So it was really a pleasure meeting you down there. You were so sweet. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, because I was like, wow, you know, I knew you were different on the show, but then when I met you, you kind of proved everything that I said that was right. So one of my questions for you, Imani.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was so nice to meet you, especially, like you said, in such an unlikely place. And I had an amazing time. I was in town for the Stellar Awards, and Bishop Walker and his wife extended an invitation for me to attend the church, and I just had such a great time. And everybody was so nice, and it was an amazing event.
And didn't Marvin Sapp preach, girl? He preached that way.
Well, you know that man of God. I mean, that church holds probably 5,000 to 6,000 people, and literally everyone was on their feet.
That was word.
By the end of the service, I mean, that word was so good. And after speaking to them towards the end, you know, I realized that was like his fourth service of the day. So to give that kind of energy, and he's been up doing it since 6 a.m. It was incredible.
It really was. And I mean, we can go on about that message, because I know when he talked about the gold and when God sees himself in you.
Yes.
Oh, I was like, okay, I got my nugget. I can go home now.
Yes. I need
good.
to make some changes. I mean, God was his reflection in me.
I know we all came home saying that. Even my husband was talking about that at church. But I know I didn't know, Imani, that you used to be a singer in a girl group. Tell me about the group that you were in.
Well, that's what's so funny about the whole concept of being on reality TV. You know, they put out like bios of, you know, who you were and what you do. And honestly, I worked on Wall Street for 10 years. But in like interviewing with the show, I mentioned that at one point I was in a girls group in New York City. And I did that for all of like 6 to 8 months. And so I guess that's more entertainment based. And so they use that as like who I was. But the reality of the situation is, you know, I worked on Wall Street. This was something I did on the side. We ended up getting a deal. We got a deal on the table, and right before I signed, I ended up meeting my children's father and leaving New York and moving to San Antonio. So my singing career was very short-lived.
Now, they left off the whole Wall Street thing.
Oh, yeah, that's not interesting.
What kind of work did you do? That it's interesting to me. What kind of work did you do on Wall Street?
I was a financial analyst at a few of the major investment firm houses. I worked at Smith Barney, Solomon Brothers, J.P. Morgan, Chase. You know, that was my life.
So you're pretty smart. Financially smart.
Oh, yeah, I'm a smart girl. Oh, yeah.
Right. Financially
don't
savvy.
Get it messed up, girl. Yes, don't get it messed up. I'm more than just a pretty face, honey. You got to have something to back it up. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your husband went and got somebody who knew how to handle some. Well, your children's father had got a woman that can handle some stuff in the background. That's great. So how did the show Basketball Wives find you?
A girlfriend of mine who I was really good friends with, they got traded out here to the Lakers. And just in hanging out with her and, you know, going to the games and going to dinner, I ended up meeting Gloria, who was on the original Basketball Wives in Miami, and she ended up being on the LA show. And she was kind of vetting people to join her on this new show with a whole new cast. And she presented it to me, and initially, of course, I was just like, no, thank you. And then, I got to know Gloria, and she was, like, really sweet, and I got to meet her sister, and we bonded, like, instantly. And, so it was, I started opening up to the idea because these would be some of the girls on the show. And then I spoke to a few producers, and they kind of, told me that the show would be totally different than the original series, and, that we would all be mothers. It wouldn't be about being in the club and hanging out. And it was supposed to be geared towards a different audience. And so after, 5-6 months of consideration and talking to people back and forth, I just decided to go ahead and do it.
Now, I want to know behind this, why do they call it wives when a lot of women on the show aren't married?
Child, I don't know either.
Okay.
I mean, maybe the original show idea, concept, they may have wanted to go in that area. I don't know. I just think, honestly, just being perfectly honest with you, I think most of the basketball wives, like wives that are in the league currently playing, I think they just have such busy lives and so much other stuff going on. And then you also have to consider your husband and, the backlash that he may get from his teammates. And so I don't think a lot of wives per se are as open to doing the show. It may be some, the husbands don't want them to do the show. And then honestly, that lifestyle, when you're in it, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of, you barely have privacy as it is, and, the guy is really the star, and you don't want to, step on his shine. So, I mean, it's a lot of things to consider. So I think that kind of, like, scares a lot of, quote-unquote, wives away from the show. But, I mean, I don't know.
What happened to...
I agree with the people.
Yeah, what happened to Kimsha? If I'm saying her name right.
You know what? Her name is Kimsha. I love Kimsha. When I tell you, I was actually a little disappointed that Kimsha wasn't as involved as originally stated as well. She filmed with us for about 4 weeks, and I know she had some family issues and other obligations that she had to take care of, and she didn't film as often. But once I saw the final show and, all the scenes, I was surprised that there wasn't more scenes with her in it.
Yeah, because it seemed like she had just kind of like disappeared, and also
the
other young lady with the dreadlocks, can't remember her name, in the very beginning. Tanya,
mm-hmm.
And it seemed like everybody was just kind of like, when just two people faded away from the show. So I was kind of wondering what had happened, with her as well. There is another basketball wife I really like, Malaysia. I really like her. I love
Malaysia. That's my baby. I love her. She's a sweetheart.
Because it seems like you two would like really bond, because she was a girl that really wasn't trying to be in a whole lot of mess. And just from watching this show, from how the show was edited, it appears you two were being basically drawn into a lot of it. You weren't looking for it. It was coming to you.
No. And what's so funny about it, it's honestly, like I totally do it as entertainment now, because, I know what happened during filming. I know how many scenes we did together. I know the relationship and friendship we had. So to see the finished product air, and it looks like, I basically don't like anybody, and Malaysia's just off doing her thing, and this one's so mean. I mean, it wasn't like that. Malaysia and me, we are like really close. I've spent time with her after the show's wrapped. We speak all the time. Like, she's a great girl.
Now, I hear that Vanessa Bryant might be joining the cast. Have you heard that too?
I haven't heard anything like that. I mean, obviously on the blogs and, but we don't have a lot of say-so in who's going to be on the show, to what level they're going to be on the show. We don't have a lot of say-so in that.
Now, one thing I was talking to you about when we were in Nashville, when we were speaking, and how the show was edited, and it really didn't show the true essence or the person that you were. How do you think that you were being portrayed on the show to the person that you really are? Can you explain that to us? Because we know TV will show what they want to show.
Right. Well, you have to, initially I was very upset. I'm not even going to lie. I was very upset, disturbed by how I was being portrayed. But after watching it and watching some of the other shows, I have to kind of take a step back and just realize that it is for entertainment purposes only, and it doesn't define who I am. I think they kind of want each person to be a particular character. I guess I was supposed to be like the mean, judgmental character, and that's the furthest thing from who I am. I think they wanted, we had another young lady on the show who was like super funny, super sweet, a young girl, Drea. They wanted her to be like Little Bo Peep, and, we were going to be the big bad wolves attacking Drea, and in reality, that wasn't what happened at all. They would have conversations for, we would film a scene, let's say, would be 3 or 4 hours. And in 3 and 4 hours, we would talk about politics, current events, our families, and, we would bring up Drea for 3 minutes, and that's the 3 minutes they would choose to air. So it just seemed like we were constantly talking about her all day, every day. And that was that was the furthest thing from the truth. But that makes for good TV. So I get it. I don't think it's necessarily fair, but, it is what it is.
Because it did seem like the first couple of weeks of the show, it was like Drea was always a topic. It's like, do they talk about anything else besides Drea?
Exactly. Exactly. It's just like right now we're doing the interview. We're going to talk about everything, but if the only part you choose to air is the part where I'm talking about Drea, it's like, oh, she's still talking about Drea. It's like, it's not true.
I am so glad that you cleared that up, because it's like, okay, when you called Drea worthless, it was like, this show, if that girl is that important.
That was very hard for me. And what's so funny about it is what people don't realize, A, I didn't call her worthless. We were put in a situation where, we were given a box of adjectives, and right before I went into that scene, I got fed all this information, this like horrible, horrific information about this person, and then they go, okay, now go. Push me in the scene, and that was one of the first words on the top, and out of emotion, of course, like I totally don't think that she's a worthless person at all. I don't think anybody's worthless, to be honest with you, but I was like amped up on emotion, and so I just picked the word, put it in her box, and that was it. But what people don't know is immediately after we filmed, I talked to Drea and I pulled her on the side. And, they kept trying to get me to say it on camera why I felt that way, and I just refused to do that because I didn't want to throw her kid under the bus. So I just decided, at that point, I will be the bad guy, because I'm not going to be like, I got all this pressure on me right now, so let me just go ahead and expose her so that way they're looking at her and not me. So I just refused to do it, and I pulled her on the side behind the scenes, and I said, listen, the reason why I put that word in there, this is what I heard. I don't know if it's true. If it's something you want to talk about, then we can bring it up. But if not, fine, I'll be the bad guy. And Drea kind of said, no, I want to talk about it on camera, because that way I can get my side of the story out and people can kind of, let it go. And so that was all her choice, and we decided to do a scene where she explained her side of the story, and that was it. That was the end of it. But honestly, from that day on, behind scenes, me and Drea was like the BFFs of the show.
And I really like her. She came up. Go ahead.
She's so funny. I swear to you, I would look at Drea and I'd be like, okay, I have totally nothing in common with this girl. I don't see her point in being here, whatever. And then 8 hours in, I'm like, oh, she's so cool. She's so funny. I like her. It was just so funny. Drea is one of those type of people. You can't help but to like her. And if you don't like her, then it's something wrong with you.
Right.
She's a really good person. I think she has a good heart. She's young. She makes a lot of choices that I don't think, maybe later on she would probably make, or, with different skill sets, or, I just think as she gets older, she's going to come into her own, and she's going to amaze people.
Right. And now, question for you. How did all of you at the end, and I'm so glad that everybody was able to find out, because, with us watching it by television, how did you all find out that Jackie was the catalyst of all the drama that was taking place? How did y'all finally figure that out?
You know what? Jackie is a very skillful manipulator. She had us, it was kind of like divide and conquer. It's kind of like, I'm really your only friend in this thing. You don't need to talk to those girls because they don't really like you anyway. And, so everybody had this kind of one-on-one relationship with Jackie, and we all hated each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like, it was divide and conquer pretty much. Like, nobody knew. And anytime I would be like, you know what, she said that, I'm going to go talk. I'm going to tell her this and this and that. She'd be like, you know what, girl, don't even waste your energy on her. Let that go. If I were you, I would just be like, you know what you did, and I don't mess with you no more. So he's like, you know what, you're right. I'm not going to play myself now. Forget her. I'm done with her, And she had, done this to all of us and had us ready to, like, attack each other for no apparent reason. And then Malaysia, honestly, was one of the catalysts to kind of, like, step outside of the box, because she had caught Jackie in a bunch of lies. And, Malaysia, who kind of stays out of everything, kind of came to me and said, you know what, Imani, I'm going to be real with you. Like, it's all Jackie. And I know, like, I've heard her on a three-way conversation when she didn't know I was on the phone. And, yeah, it's her. It's really just her. And it was hard for me to believe, because Jackie was, older, married, had a family, a sick mom. She had all these things going on in her life. So I just was, confused as to, you have time to do this? You have time to, like, start this kind of mess? Like, I didn't understand it. But, I was glad that it all came to fruition when it did. And that it didn't escalate, because, you watch reality TV, it could get really ugly. Mm-hmm. And so I was glad that we were able to kind of figure out what was going on before, girls came to blows, somebody said something that was hurtful that you couldn't take back. I just felt it was a dangerous thing for her to do, given the emotions of women and our long taping schedules. You're on high alert. It's just a lot going on. And I just thought it wasn't a nice thing to do.
I know the word bipolar was being thrown around at the reunion, because it seems like we saw several Jackies. And as Jerry said, we didn't know which one was going to talk next, because my husband and I was watching it, and it was she was just changing real quick. And so I'm not sure what's going on with that. How is she doing now?
I don't know. I haven't talked to or seen Jackie since that reunion show. And it's so funny. I don't know which girl said it, but they were like, she could do her own show by herself. Jackie Christie playing 8 whole characters.
It was Drea.
Yes, because she is crazy. Like, one minute she'll be like, I love y'all my sisters. And then she'll be like, you know what? I want to tie you to a tree and beat you. I was like, really? That's why y'all don't have no man, and that's why this and this and that, and y'all just want to be like me and F y'all this and this and this and that. But I love you. Y'all my sisters.
And that's what came across on TV, and that's exactly how it came across.
Am I the only one that thinks this is absolutely crazy?
No,
I don't get it. I don't get it with her.
People were Facebooking the night of the reunion, and that was the word that was literally going down on the Facebook. It was like, Jackie's bipolar. I mean, it was very evident on television. Not saying that she has it, but it was, bipolar tendencies.
I'm saying she has it.
Y'all heard that from her, not me. Not me at all. So
yes, I think she has some undiagnosed mental issues. Yeah.
Well, that is amazing. But it's good to know that all of you girls really did get along. Malaysia, I was glad that everything was able to finally come out, because we were watching everything unfold as well, and you guys had to watch it as we were watching it. And one thing you and I was talking about, that you looked fantastic, and you had an unexpected weight loss, because a lot of people don't know that you've just gone through a major trial. Can you kind of talk to us about that? Because a lot of people don't know about that.
Right. Well, right before we started filming, I suffer from a condition called lupus. It affects a lot of people, but it's growing in the African American community and the Latino community. And it affects a lot of people, but I don't think it's so much effort is put into research and getting the word out. So a lot of people don't know the symptoms, the causes, and the treatment of the disease. But I'd gotten sick. I had a flare-up right before we started filming, and I was on medication to kind of regulate my symptoms. And it's a steroid called prednisone, and it made me gain a lot of weight, and it made my face swollen, and, so there were a lot of issues. And once I started feeling better, I got off the medication. You can see me kind of shrinking over as the season progressed. And towards the end of the show, I was feeling much better. I was healthy. I started working out, eating good. So the drastic weight loss that people say, or, you know, when they see me, they're like, oh my God, you've lost so much weight. A lot of it was like swelling, especially like in my facial area. A lot of that was like swelling because of the medication. But I did lose a significant amount of weight, like after I got off the medication and started working out and eating right. I lost about 35 pounds since the beginning of the show until now. So
you look great because you have a whole new look now. Now you're a brunette. You look great. I think
I'm
you're
a brunette.
Yeah, you look great. Lost weight, and I was like, I want that belt that you had on last Sunday. For
I
my
love
waist.
my belt.
Because that was really cute. And I wanted to know, are you going to be returning this season? Do you know? Have you prayed about it?
Well, they've contacted me. You know, our pickup notices have gone out, and it's something to consider. I've grown a lot in my person since the original taping of the show. My faith has grown so much. I've come into being the person who I think I was born to be. I don't know how that would fit or work for reality TV. My faith is so strong right now. My beliefs, my spiritual beliefs, and things of that nature, I don't know how that would be received on a reality TV show, especially Basketball Wives LA. But having said that, I would love to do the show again, and hopefully this time, like, more of my authentic self can be shown. And I think there is an audience for, you know, people like myself. You know, I'm still in the world. I'm not going to deny that. I am still in the world. I'm not perfect. You know, I'm not where I want to be in my spiritual walk yet, but I'm getting there. And I think there are a lot of girls just like me. And I think there's an audience for it. And, you know, hopefully that'll get to be shown this time.
And see, what I want to say to you, I would say do it. Why? Malaysia let her Christian faith be known on the show. And that's what I loved about her. She let it be known. She wasn't like everybody else. She may have had that little altercation with Laura, but we know she was kind of pushed to the breaking point when Laura kind of punched her, you know. And so you put anybody in that situation, whether you walk with Jesus or not. You know, in the Bible, Peter cut off, you know, the high priest's ear, and thank God Jesus put it back on, and he was walking with Jesus in the flesh. In the flesh. So people will have their moments. Jesus tore up the money changers, you know, but that was righteous indignation, you know. So being put in a situation can cause you to step out, but it would be nice to have the both of you on the show. You growing in your faith, and I think you guys, iron sharpen iron, and I think you guys would be perfect for the show, because for her it'd be great to have another sister growing in Christ on the show as well. And that's what TV needs. So I wouldn't want you to run from it, because we need to watch you on TV. That's why I loved Malaysia. Would love to talk to her, because when she mentioned that in her walk and where she was trying to go in her walk, I'm like, girl, you got it. Everybody needs that on the show.
Yeah, but you know, people tune into these kind of shows for the fight, the drink throwing, the cussing, you know. And so I think it would be a challenge. And, you know, they also, like, put people in the mix to kind of, you know, see what kind of spice or what they can incite in you. And I just don't want to backslide.
You're going to be good. We're going to be praying for you. We're going to pray for you.
Know, like I said, I'm still on the journey in my walk. I haven't gotten there yet.
but you know, everybody, like I said, that's what happened to Malaysia on the show. And I'm going to encourage you. We'll pray for you, because we know, let us know when filming start. Girl, we'll be praying for you. No, we're going to fast and pray for you, girl. Okay,
yeah, I need it, honey. I need it.
We sure will. But it'd be great to have you on the show, and see, especially with this interview, people will know where you're trying to go. We understand they will put you in those situations. So when people do watch it, we'll know those are situations set up to make Imani upset, because we know she's not really like that. We know she's trying to grow. We know the devil's going to always try you.
Right.
He's on his job. The thing is, we just have to be on ours and just know. Right. And with you going into it now, you know they're going to try to set you up. Now you got to try to handle it just in a different way.
And then this is another thing what people need to understand too. It's like we take for hours. Like some of the stuff you see, we might have been filming for 6, 7, 8 hours. And you might catch 10 seconds of me being totally out of character. And if that's that's why I just want people to understand what you see of people on television is not their real life. It's reality TV and it is them. But, let's say you had a bad day and somebody cut you off in traffic and you gave them the finger or something, and that's the only thing people saw about your whole day. That doesn't make you who you are.
And I think the audience, too, is wise enough to kind of see that. Like when we were talking before, I was able to kind of see through that, and I do believe a lot of people were able to see through that and what was going on. And I think people are smart enough to know reality TV. Some people, that's just really who they are. And then some people you could see when they're put in a situation. And going forward, I think a lot of people will understand who you are. They're going to see your growth on the show. And, and just continue to allow people to see that. Malaysia did a great job. And I think you can do a great job as well. She did a good job. And I don't even know her.
She did. She really did. That's my baby. She's really a sweet girl. She really is. They have a beautiful family, her kids, her husband. She's a good girl. She's a good one.
And so please tell her that came across on television.
I will.
Let her know. Well, Imani, if people wanted to follow you, I know you're on Twitter. If people want to follow you, can you give out your information? If you're on Facebook, I know you're on Twitter because I know people might want to tweet you and all that good stuff.
Okay. On Twitter, I am Melissa Imani on Twitter, and on Facebook, I'm just Melissa Imani.
Do you have a website as well?
I haven't done my website yet. That's in the works. So.
Okay, so when will we be finding out if you're going to be renewing your contract for Basketball Wives?
Well, initially when I signed on, we signed on for, I think it was 5 seasons, but it's with an option. So, we just have been all contacted to come back, and so I guess we'll start the negotiations and kind of see what the show is going to be about this year, and come up with a final decision. I think they're supposed to start filming in March.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll definitely know before then.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, we definitely look forward to seeing you on the show and you allowing God to be glorified and allowing people to see your journey, because the walk with the Lord, it's a day-by-day process. It's minute by, I was going to say day by day. How about minute by minute? Because you could be good this 1 minute and somebody can tick you off the next. You're all sweet 5 minutes ago. What happened?
He was good 5 minutes ago. What done happened?
Right. So, absolutely. So it is a minute by minute, but it's great if you allow us to see how you grow in the Lord, because it is a journey, and we're not expecting you to be Jesus. We already have him. We're expecting you to be you and let him be seen in you. It may be moments we may not see him. We might see you. But
exactly.
But as long as you recover.
I'm going to get it back, girl. Don't worry.
Amen.
Yes, I'm telling you. It's it's so amazing. And, I tell everybody that I run across, just the transformation in such a short time that I've seen that God's been working in my life. I've never been happier. Like, things are so good right now. I've had a peace in my life that I've never had in all my years. I've never felt this way. I think this was like the missing piece. This is why I didn't feel whole. This is why I wasn't complete. This was like the missing piece for me.
Well, that is a testimony. When you finally receive the Prince of Peace, people have no idea, because the Bible says, you know what I mean? I mean, the peace that he brings, the peace that passes all understanding. And if the world really understood that, if they really get it, and when they get it, and that's why the Lord needs you to be a living witness, to really show that. So when you show a difference from the last one to this one, so just allow God to use you. And just like He did with Esther. He called you for such a moment and for such a time as this. And sometimes we have to just acknowledge the call.
Yeah. And I remember being at the Stellar Awards, and William McDowell was singing "Give Myself Away." And it was so amazing and beautiful. And I just, that's just how I felt, from the beginning of it. I just felt like I just gave myself completely over, and let him use me. And I just gave all power over to him. And from that moment on, my life has been nothing but goodness.
That is beautiful. I want to just, we going to end that right there. That was so awesome. And for those of you who are listening right now, just give yourself away to the Lord. It is the best decision. And that's why my favorite song is by Jonathan Butler. Falling in love with Jesus was the best thing I've ever done.
Ever done.
Amen. So take it from myself and Miss Imani. It would be the best thing that you've ever done.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank you so much for joining me on the show. It was truly a pleasure. And for you letting your light shine on the show today, it just blessed me.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are
I
so
appreciate
welcome.
it so much.